to mend relationships.
We want him back in the worst way. I know he knows that. We'll continue to work at it each and every day.
Rise the devil.
Well, it wouldn't be a show and it wouldn't be the 6 o'clock hour if we didn't mention Aaron Rodgers by name, but there is something really interesting going on with Aaron Rodgers that is kind of funny. Let's bring in Mike Tannenbaum, our ESPN front office insider, who joins us on the Goodyear Hotline, brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Mike, good morning. So, in the world of NFL media and the way we like to cover things and react to things, if you're in a front office and you hear that Aaron Rodgers has renewed his membership to Green Bay Country Club for the rest of the year, are you thinking, oh, okay, he's coming back? Or are you just laughing at the fact that we're looking for anything to react to?
Maybe a little bit of each, but, look, I think something did happen last week that could be an opportunity, which is if the Packers ultimately agree to waive the fines, about $93,000, it is a way to hopefully rejuvenate talks if I'm the Packers. And when you're in this situation, and I've been there, you're looking for any sort of creative way to sort of reinvigorate things. So I would call up and say, hey, look, $93,000, that's a lot of money. And most people, we know that's not a lot to Aaron. But symbolically, we would like to sit back down and see if we get things figured out.
$93,000 is not going to figure it out if I'm Aaron Rodgers. Nah, never mind. You keep your little $93,000.
He's not talking. He's not picking up the phone, Mike, for $93,000.
Yeah. Key and I have had similar conversations over $93,000, so I'm not surprised by his response.
Well, look, if Aaron Rodgers, okay, so right now you got Jordan Love, you have Blake Bortles, and I don't even know who the 3 and 4 guy that they would have in camp would be. Is there somebody else that's out there if Aaron Rodgers decide to stick to his guns and stay in California or Hawaii or wherever he's vacationing? Is there another guy at the quarterback position that they may look to?
Yeah, Key, you bring up a great point, which is this. If I'm the Packers, I'm doing everything I can to get him to come back, including hopefully seeing that country club membership being renewed. However, I have to scour. If I'm the Packers, the verb I'm using, I'm scouring for any quarterback. That can include Nick Foles. I'm going to monitor that Russell Wilson situation. I don't think that's going to happen. Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it Gardner Minshew? Whatever could be out there, I'm going to look at any and all possibilities. Is it Joe Flacco? Because I have a really good football team, and if Jordan Love just isn't ready, which is no fault of Jordan Love, he basically didn't get a chance to practice last year because of COVID. We know Bortles isn't good enough, so I'm going to scour any alternatives I can get to give ourselves a chance to win this year.
Yeah, they just need somebody to manage a game at this point, right? If your defense is good enough, if you have enough weapons there offensively in that division, you don't know what you're going to get in that division. Speaking of divisions, Mike, the NFC East had an interesting year last year, as we know, the way things ended there. But with Dak Prescott coming back to the Cowboys, what are you expecting from that offense? And do you think it's enough to overcome what's going to be a fairly young, still defense that has a lot to prove? In that division, should they be the favorites to not just win the division, but be that team that could make noise in the NFC?
No question about it, Alan. To me, they are the second best team in the NFC, and here's why. Lyle Collins didn't play last year. Tyron Smith only played in 2 games. If they could get back 2 really good frontline offensive tackles, a franchise quarterback, I love Dak Prescott. You have 2 bona fide number 1 receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, a great Zeke Elliott. That defense is young. It's going to get better. I'm a big believer in Dan Quinn. They drafted defense up and down that draft. I think they're going to come out of it at least with 2, maybe 3 stars, most notably Micah Parsons. So even if that defense is average this year, and I think they're going to improve as the year goes on, this is going to be a prolific offense, and they're going to be hard to beat.
Mike, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will probably be favored to go back to the Super Bowl, and by some to win the Super Bowl. By a lot of people, we both know how hard it is to even make it to the playoffs, let alone win a Super Bowl. What are the expectations for a team like Tampa that has pretty much everybody coming back that was a contributor to their Super Bowl run?
Key, if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's a big disappointment. And if you think about last year, again, because of COVID, it's really remarkable what they accomplished. So to get everybody back, to have an off-season program, to be there with Byron Leftwich to really understand the offense to a whole nother level. Hopefully have all your stars back for a year that healthy. And oh, by the way, O.J. Howard, who missed a lot of time last year, they should be better on offense. And defensively, Todd Bowles, to me, he's on the very, very short list of head coaching candidates for next year. I think this is a team that's complete, and I expect them to be back in the Super Bowl.
Mike, great stuff. Good to talk to you this morning. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Kia, I'll wire over that 93,000 today, and maybe that starts a good conversation between us.
Get you to pick up the phone. We'll see. Thanks, Mike. I had to laugh, though, at the whole country club thing. The renewal. That's what we do. All right, coming up, will the Bucks finally be able to bring an NBA title back to Milwaukee? Coming up next, KJZ, ESPN Radio.